Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. I'm Kate, and today I am sharing my potager garden in its, I think of it as like a wildflower meadow stage. It's actually not wildflowers, but these are self-seeders that I just allow to spread around in the garden, and I help them along with a few extra seeds every year. So why do I do them in my vegetable garden? Because it's protected from rabbits, so new seeds coming up won't be attacked right away, and they also have really good soil in there. And so it was just kind of the place that I decided would be a good place to try new seeds. You know, they're protected. It's a good way to see if I can grow them. And over the years, that has just sort of become what I do in my vegetable garden. So in the spring, I have spring vegetables, lettuce, cilantro, and then I allow these self-seeders to come up, and then in early June they kind of have their show, and then I will remove them when they are done, and they're all annuals. And then you will be able to see my summer vegetables in their full glory. So that will be my tomatoes, cucumbers, green beans, peppers, that kind of stuff. So this video has multiple parts. About 3 weeks ago, I filmed what the vegetable garden was looking like in the middle of May, right after I had planted those summer vegetables. So I just kind of show you, like, here's where my peppers are, here's where my tomatoes are, and you can kind of see. I wanted to include that in this video because you can see how short the poppies and the larkspur and the cilantro are at that point, just about 3 weeks ago. Then I went on vacation. When I came home, I pulled in and all that stuff was 4 feet tall and blooming. So that is the rest of the video. I've had a hard time filming that. Between rain and heat and my camera running out of storage and trying to catch up with getting back from vacation, laundry, groceries, etc., moving my son home from college, I've had a hard time filming. So it's kind of maybe a little disjointed and in different pieces. So you may see some poppies blooming and then like different poppies blooming in another part of the video. Poppies can be a little bit fleeting. So in the morning you'll have this nice new flush of blooms, and then by the afternoon they might mostly have petered out. I noticed that when I did my garden tour last year, that they looked really nice in the morning, and by the afternoon, when some people didn't come till the afternoon, almost all the poppies weren't blooming anymore. So kind of like morning glories. Same problem on the tour last year. I have left all of those lettuces. They're getting pretty tall. You know, like I said, I just got home from vacation. It's all kind of wild right now, and I'm just embracing the wild. And then once all of this is done, I'll clean all those lettuces out, clean all of these self-seeding annuals out, and I'll just have the summer vegetables, and it will be cleaner looking again. But this is just something that I embrace every June, and it's just, I kind of stumbled into it, like I said, just wanting to experiment with some different seeds, and found that this kind of works for me. So you may not even be able to see some of those summer vegetables right now because they're so covered up with the lettuce and the poppies and larkspur and stuff, but they're there, and they will be revealed when I clean it all up here in a couple weeks. I hope that you enjoy my wild meadow contained inside of my potager in June. So I'm quickly going to show you all of the summer vegetables that I now have planted. So the other day, and I think I got a video of this, I planted 6 peppers here. Today I added 2 more. I harvested the cilantro, pulled it up, and then on the other side added 3 between the rows of lettuce. 1, 2, 3 there. I also added, that is a ground cherry. This is the one that I grew from seed. I had 2 others. They disappeared for like days. I was like, where are they? I spent like half an hour searching the house, searching the grow room, couldn't find them. And then after like 3 days, I was like, they're dried out by now. finally found them. They fell off the deck and they were underneath some shrubs, but they were completely dead and dried out. So I have one ground cherry. That's the moral, that's the end of that story. So the lettuce, you know, eventually I will take out. So I'll have the 3 peppers here. This is the Mountain Magic tomato. Then, again, I don't remember what all I showed you, but I put 1 jalapeno pepper here. My friend bought like a 4-pack and gave me one. This is the Sikkim cucumber from Baker Creek, and this is the Soya Long cucumber from Baker Creek. So I think that's all I've added. I'm gonna wait to do the green beans till a little later, till after the poppies bloom. So here are the poppies. I've learned, last year I really learned my lesson. The green beans just wanted to grow on the poppies, and so I did them once. I started them again after the poppies were completely done, and they still did totally fine. It wasn't like too late or anything. So then here is my new basil demonstration garden. That's what I'm calling it. I always do a big basil right there. That's my Genovese basil for culinary, for cooking, eating. But I had just a bunch of, you know, leftover stuff that I've grown from seed, and today's kind of the day that's like, just get it all in the ground somewhere. And I had a lot of basils, and so I thought, well, it would look kind of cute to just have an example of the diversity of basil. So here is the purple ball basil, and that one's kind of more mottled than the rest. This is not a basil, that's my variegated oregano that did live through the winter here. Then I have dark opal ball basil, Greco Apala, and then the Thai basil, which someone who watched my herb video suggested I try Thai basil, and I am thankful that they did, because I think it's really cute. I've planted it a couple different places around the garden, so thank you for that. This is the Lady in Red climbing rose. It died back to the ground, so it looks more like a shrub rose right now. But then I have parsley doing well, the sorrel doing well, looking good. My 2 dahlias back there look good. What I should do is I should harvest this cilantro, and then that lettuce will look better. And since I'm all about the visual, I think I will do that. So I harvested all my cilantro, which I will keep, and then that looks so much better. I also made a little bit of space, just cleared out a little bit of space for that ground cherry to do a little bit better. Okay, in here, this is that stage of the potager where it looks kind of like a wildflower meadow, but last night all that cilantro was up and really pretty, and now it's all flopped over. But the poppies look good. Again, this one flopped over in the night. So it's all wet right now, but this is a red fringed poppy that kind of, I think, has come from morphing my different poppies together. The rain last night did a little bit of a number on this garden, I'm noticing. But here are my poppies that I grow from seed every year and collect the seeds. I planted some nasturtium. They started coming up while I was gone. Here, the rose looked really beautiful last night, and is still beautiful, but did take a little bit of a beating from the rain. So then I have the larkspur and the poppies in here, and the cilantro. Ooh, I wonder if that was a chipmunk. It was a chipmunk. Right before I left, a rabbit got in here for the first time ever, and I was like, oh no, this is the beginning of the end. So I wasn't, and it was the night before we left. I was like, there's nothing I can do. I put a couple of rocks around the corners where I thought they might get in. Anyway, so here's the larkspur, the poppies, and the cilantro, looking really fun. These are all things that you can throw the seeds on the ground, not necessarily at the same time of year. The larkspur you can start in fall or spring. It does need to be cold stratified, so you would want to put it in the freezer if it's not going to be around in the winter. Here's the bunny right now, right there. The poppies I spread in January or February. I'm going to come close my gate real quick so the bunny doesn't get any ideas. The reason that I knew there was a bunny in here was not because I saw the bunny, but because I saw the damage, and then I found him once I started looking. So I'm going to be looking for damage today. Okay, and then the cilantro, you can direct sow pretty much any time, but once it's no longer to the point where you're going to eat it, when it starts to bolt, if you leave it, you'll get some pretty wispy white flowers. So lots of pretty poppies in here. And then I have my dahlias. That's the dahlia that was that I left in the ground, and it is coming back. So these purplish ones, this is like the Lauren's grape. This one's just about done. Here you can see I've got a couple more coming. The ones that are curved down are still coming. The ones that are going straight up like that are done. So I do still have some on the way. Here you can see I've got a big one on the way there, a couple that are done. And then these are my Lady in Red climbing rose. So they're really beautiful. A spent one there in the middle. It did die to the ground this last winter, but still, I'm still happy to have it. It smells wonderful. It's very sweet and fruity, not the cloying perfume floral scent that I can't stand. You can see the lettuce is out of control, and I've just I'm letting everything go until my sort of wild meadow stage is over, which it won't last much longer, maybe another week or two. And then I will clean up all of this lettuce, and then you will be able to see all the basil that I have going on in here. So I do have lots of basil. It's just kind of being crowded by all of my lettuce right now. What else do I need to show? Okay, so back here again, there is stuff hiding in here. So my parsley is there, the sorrel is there, there's the sorrel back there, and then this is my Mountain Magic tomato. So there are some tomatoes on there. I have been out of town. I haven't been tucking this in like I should. The garlic is in there. I know it's hard to see because everything is such a crazy mess right now. I just had to go in and delete some apps off my phone because it was so full it wouldn't let me take any more video. So yeah, I have to like buy some iCloud storage or something. Like my husband already bought a little bit, but he was like, you're gonna have to start buying some storage space yourself or delete videos or something. So I just need to start dealing with that. Anyway, I now have 5 minutes before I have to take my daughter to work, but these are really pretty. These are just, I think they're just called double purple poppy. And I think that those were the only ones that I did spread here. So I did my mix other places, but here I just did this double purple poppy and I'm loving it. I did not plant or spread any larkspur seed this year. I usually do, but this year I was like, you know what, it comes back anyway. So I do have a little bit less this year, but as you can see, I still have some. So that's good. And then of course this white is the cilantro. And then here is some that is starting to produce seeds. And then just a little bit of zinnias back there, and there is one larkspur that reseeded itself outside of the fence. So down here, when I clean this up, I will unearth my peppers. So the peppers are hiding down in here amongst all of these tall self-seeders and the lettuce. And again, that's all going to be cleaned out really soon. But I did take a video of summer vegetables. So 3 weeks ago, I planted this cucumber, I planted my tomatoes, my peppers, and my basil. And in that video, it's just such a stark contrast to what is happening now with all of these tall flowers. This morning, this poppy had 3 big blooms, and I jumped out of the car. My son was waiting for me in the car, and I jumped out and did a really quick video of it because it looked so good. I was like, I can't miss those poppies blooming. And those were like a red fringed poppy. You might be able to even see in the video that the storm drain project has started across the street. They haven't started on my yard yet, but they're getting close. They're in the neighborhood, they're working, so it's coming soon. Yikes. But ready for it to come and be over with too.